Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Simon here with another episode of Naruto to watch with you all. This is episode number 11, moving on from the Forest of Chakra, which was a good... it felt like old times, which is weird because I know we're only 10 episodes in, but, it was like back to basics, with Kakashi putting the students through their paces, because he was obviously still recovering from his fight with Zabuza. And it was fun to see the different levels that the students are at, and predictably Naruto was terrible and got frustrated. Surprisingly, Sakura was actually pretty good at balancing her chakra, and she was able to make it up to the top of the tree without much of a problem. Sasuke did well, but he took a bit of time to, obviously start to improve. And it's interesting how... Watch Zuko close the door now. Don't you close that door. Don't you close that door. I know you're looking at it. Zuko. Don't you do it. Hopefully you won't. But it was interesting to see how the students' amount of chakra seemed to coordinate in with, how well they were able to control it. Sakura, who has the least amount, was able to control hers better than the others. Naruto, who apparently has more than Kakashi, was just not able to control his at all. So obviously too much of a good thing can be difficult to control. So maybe that's where that's coming from. And I'm not surprised that Naruto has more chakra than Kakashi because, this whole show is supposed to be, setting up Naruto to be the best, to be the hero, to be the number one. So, with that comes the most innate raw power. I always knew that Naruto going into this was going to, develop very much like Izuku Midoriya in My Hero Academia. His destiny was to become the best. The thing that surprised me with Naruto was just how much of a whiny brat he is. I wasn't quite expecting that. You get characters who can be quite immature, who can have, anger issues, but ultimately they're kind of grounded in some kind of purpose, and, they're not just whiny, which is, kind of how Naruto's been, but, you already start to see him slowly developing and becoming a little bit less of a brat with each episode and becoming a bit more mature, though it is slow going. Speaking of Zabuza, we found out that he's alive. Yeah, he was actually not killed. He was put into a fake death state by his traveling companion. I can't remember his name. But it turns out that they're actually on the run from the village in the mist, which was a surprise, for someone who... There's this big story about him walking into the academy and taking down so many students and, being quite evil. The idea that he went against the orders of the village or, he did something to incur their wrath is quite surprising, and the fact that he's running as well shows you how powerful these ninjas that they're sending after him must be. But they're in a little bit of a bind with the businessman they've made a deal with because he's covering for them. That's the deal. They go and kill the bridge builder. He keeps their cover up and presumably pays them a little bit. But that's at threat now, So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But we're going to jump in. Before we do, I want to say a big thank you to my Patreon super supporters, Frank Tremel, Karen Abel, Ace, Nick Walters, The Seven Deadly Sins, Damon Smallwood, Michael Y, IrishCal, and Richafa. So without further ado, let's jump in and let's see what happens. Okay, so we're on the bridge. Construction continues apace.
No, in fact, I'm the best. That's why the sensei sent me here to guard you.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not sure how well she'd actually do in combat. She hasn't really proved herself yet.
It's a lost cause, Kazuna. Why don't we stop now while we can still get out of this alive?
Because you've already made it like halfway and you've already spent a lot of money on it. And you're so close.
Chance. Huh? This is our bridge. not gonna lose out to you.
Yeah. They're using each other as motivation. Oh, okay. Well, they both improved. So they're making progress. Kids starving on the street.
What's wrong with these people?
Here we are. Welcome.
And there's barely anything on the shelves. Jesus Christ, it's like North Korea. Oh, who's gonna try and rob you? He's trying to steal from you. He wasn't trying to touch you.
Surprised me back there. Girls around here don't fight like that.
They should. Something's seriously wrong here.
Oh. Oh. It's a kid. It's a kid. It's a... Oh, I thought she was going to kick him.
The children suffer, and the adults are afraid to stand up to him. They've lost all hope.
Okay, we need to build this bridge.
The bridge,
Yeah, we need...
commerce and trade.
Sasuke, Naruto, we have to help them.
Hey, hearing a monologue was actually good for once. It wasn't an annoying or angry comment.
Relax. Focus on the tree. Yeah, I can feel it. I'm going all the way this time.
Hey,
Nope. Stopped in his tracks.
What are you doing?
You know, you asked Sakura for advice when she was here.
Oh, look at his eye twitching.
What did she tell you?
He doesn't want to have to go to Naruto to ask.
I'm not telling you.
You're a team, goddammit. Oh. Elephant. Jesus, slow down, Naruto. There's barely any food on the island, and look at the way you're stuffing yourselves. Was it his son?
It's my husband.
they used to call him a hero in this land.
Oh no, what did he do?
Inari, where are you going?
That's why he... Did he run? Did he run away?
Talk about him like that in front of Inari. You know that.
All that ended. He never laughs or smiles anymore. Ever since the day everything changed.
What happened? Tell me.
Pucci! Pucci, no!
Oh no.
Name. Starting today, his name is Shooting Star. And he's my dog now.
You can't just take your kid's dog.
And his name's not Shooting Star. I've had him since he was a puppy. He's my friend and he doesn't belong to you!
Just shut up.
What the hell? You just throwing him in the water?
He could really drown or something.
Help! Please!
Forget about it.
I don't know.
Forget about it?
You say one more word and you're going in next. Got it?
Wow, this kid's like sadistic. Also, I don't remember there being a dog in the current timeline. The dog can swim! Of course.
Interestingly enough,
Am I alive? Is this for real? Did you pull me out of the water, mister?
Have a bite to eat first. Then we can talk all about
So he ends up calling him Dad?
If you care about something, protect it. No matter how tough, no matter how sad, you've got to keep trying. Even if you have to put your life on the line.
That's why he's so damn stubborn now.
Arms, never give in.
Never give up, never surrender.
his name was Kaiser. A simple
Kaiser?
come here from another land to follow his dreams.
We've got to do everything we can to help.
He's gonna do it, isn't he?
Care about something, protect it.
Oh man.
You have to put your life on the line. Protect it with both arms.
He's living by his own words. Oh no.
terrorized the whole village. Only Kaiser stood up to it. Gato couldn't have a local hero getting in his way.
Oh shit.
Took his whole gang to stop one man.
Oh.
You overplayed your hand, Kaiser. Well, my men will get rid of that.
I really don't like this guy. Gotto's gotta go. They're crucifying him?
Listen up.
Jesus Christ. The people of this land are really wet wipes, aren't they? So, what, they killed him?
With both your arms. You made me believe you could do it.
He tried.
But it was all just a lie.
That's a bit harsh. But why do you rip out this picture? I don't get it. I thought he did something against the village.
What are you doing down there, Naruto?
You better take the day off.
Okay, so I always imagined that, like, when they started on this story about Kaiser, I always imagined that he'd betrayed the village, or, you know, he'd turned them, like, he'd invited Goto in, or he'd run away at the moment that they needed him most. But he died trying to stop Goto. That's the most courageous thing that you can do. That's literally dying for the village. And yet, they've torn out his photo, and now they seem to not like him. They seem to disdain him for some reason. That doesn't make sense to me. Unless there's something they're not telling us here, then that really doesn't make sense. You know, I can understand Inari being, you know, utterly devastated by, you know, Kaiser's death, and even losing hope, and even believing that, you know, he lied to him, which obviously isn't true, because, you know, no matter who you are, no matter how courageous or how powerful you are, sometimes the odds are just too much. People die. That's an unfortunate fact of life. So I can understand the kid not grabbing that concept and you know, losing his hope. And I can understand the family members feeling utterly dejected at that. But to blame Kaiser really does not make sense to me. That's the most stupid thing I've ever seen. And again, I don't know if there's more to it, or if... Yeah, it was so weird. I was expecting a story of this guy who came in, was this big hero, and then all of a sudden showed his true colours, or ran away, or betrayed the village, you know, and that's why they really hate him so much, and that's why Inari was so devastated. For him to die in defence of the village, and then for people to be like, you know, for him to not be considered a hero anymore, that doesn't make sense to me. He is literally the definition of a hero. But I don't know. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it was an interesting story. I like the idea that this guy could come along and connect with Inari so much that they consider themselves father and son. You know, that's like a really nice tale. And it was horrible to see the condition at which the islands are in. You know, poverty on the street. It literally reminded me of North Korea. You know, barely any food in the shops, poverty, kids starving on the street, and then one, you know, person, one dictator living in luxury, controlling everything. I'm assuming that this was kind of a, you know, a metaphor for North Korea. You know, because there is very, very similar vibes to it. It's almost as if the people want to build a bridge across to access the rest of the world, and that will benefit everyone, but they're being stopped, you know, by a madman. You know, I guess it's hard to put myself in the situation, because in my mind, I think to myself, I'd never give up in that situation. I don't want to see kids starve on the street. You know, I'd rather die trying to build that bridge than to continue on and watch the people suffer. But again, in a situation like that where your life is actually threatened, we don't know how we would act. You know, everyone likes to think of themselves as a hero. Everyone likes to think that they would make the heroic choice and the courageous choice. But until you're thrown into that moment, I guess you don't really ever know how you'd react. People can freeze. People can, you know, have second thoughts. You know, you never really know who you are until you put into that situation. So, you know, I can't sit there and necessarily criticize the villagers too much, but still, some of it doesn't make sense to me. But I do like how Naruto and Sasuke are using each other to kind of bounce back and forth and use each other as motivation. That's, I suppose, you know, having a rival is as good as any motivation to get yourself be better. You know, not everyone responds to a rival in the way that Naruto has. Some people would get dejected at the idea of someone being better than them, and that would make them close in on themselves. But Naruto uses it as a pushing force, as a driving force, and you know, it's really healthy. Or I mean, I say healthy. I think it's good for him to keep pushing, but you know, eventually I reckon they're gonna become friends. I think so. But yes. Anyway. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the reaction. If you did, be sure to subscribe, give me a like, let me know in the comments. Until next time, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.